World champion Vasily Smyslov was only champion for a very short period of time, but he definitely invented a lot of great novelties in modern chess theory. He invented new things in the strategy, and he was one of the best endgame players ever. He played a lot of brilliances, a lot of fascinating games, attacking, tactical, positional. But the game I want to analyze next is my favorite. You are not going to see flashy combinations, but I absolutely love the way he methodically strangled his opponent, and every move was so much determination and was very consistent and logical. This game is absolutely fascinating game to me. It was played against our American Grandmaster Reshevsky in 1948 World Championship match tournament in Hague in Holland. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, bishop a4, d6, c3, bishop d7, d4, knight e7. This is one of the variations of Ruy Lopez of Spanish defense. Bishop b3 was played by white, h6. That's a must-to-play move, because after knight g6, knight g5 is very bad for black. So h6 was played, and after h6, knight to d2, and knight g6, and knight c4 by white. Now putting more pressure on e3, e5 pawn, and also aiming to go with a knight to e3 and d5 possibly. Knight c4 is a good move. After knight c4, bishop e7, white castled and black castled. White went knight e3, intending knight d5 or maybe even knight f5. After knight e3, bishop f6, and knight d5, and rook to e8. Here we get position. Position is very quiet. White can get two bishops by taking bishop on f6, but two bishops is not necessarily big advantage in when you have 8 pawns on board and position is totally closed. So white has to try to open position and take advantage of activity of their pieces. So white played d takes e, and black took with the bishop. They wanted, what black wants to do, instead of taking with a pawn and having both knight on g6 and bishop on f6 very passive, black decided to exchange some of their minor pieces. Bishop takes e5, knight takes e5, and now pawn takes e5. So black got rid of one minor piece on each side. Queen f3. Now you see that f7 square may be a target. So bishop e6 was played by the black, rook d1, and now white has serious threat, knight b6, and queen does not have any good squares to go, and after queen c8 it also looks very passive for black. So black decided to play bishop takes d5, which gives white, after rook takes d5 and queen e7, which gives white very big advantage. White has 2 bishops versus 2 knights, and knights have no outposts and no squares in the center they can dominate on. They can outpost. There is no now outpost. For example, with a pawn on c4, knight could have gone to d4, and that's way to justify that knights are good. Here, despite the fact that there are 7 pawns on the board on each side, bishops are very, very active and knights are not. Normally when you have 7 pawns on the board, knights have tendency to have better future. This is different here. White plays queen f5 and intends to play rook d7, winning the game right away, and black cannot play queen e6 because rook d7 wins immediately for white. After queen takes f5 and ef, you see that f7 hangs, knight h8 is forced, and then c7 pawn falls, and black will be totally lost. So queen f5 was played by white, and what is black's next answer? Black plays knight to d8. They don't have too many other moves. Notice that rook to d8, in some cases it may be, actually it was possible to play rook d8 because there is an interesting variation. Rook takes d6, rook takes d8, rook takes d8, and queen takes g6 will not work for white. The reason because is rook d1 check, and after bishop takes on d1, black may simply take white's queen. So queen takes g6 does not work in that position. However, rook d8 is a bad move because white has bishop takes h6 check. It's in between move, and now regardless if black takes on h6 or they take on d5 and white takes on d5 with the bishop, it doesn't make any difference. So in this position, if black takes white's bishop, then white plays rook takes d8, rook takes d8, and queen takes on g6 check, winning very easily. So in this position, this is not possible, and black has to protect their knight on g6 somehow. Now the rest of the game you're gonna see very well, but I'm gonna see the rest of the game a lot better if I put my glasses on. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna make the move that Reshevsky made, and that's the only move in this position. It's knight to f8. Bishop is on c1, so white played bishop e3. White has enormous advantage. White's bishops are a lot better than black's knights. White has a control on d file and also very active queen on f5. After bishop to e3, knight e6, rook a d1, rook a d8, rook actually e d8, and white played simply g3. There is no immediate activity white can perform to blow out black's position. Black is still solid. White is a lot better, but there is nothing concrete yet. g3 was played in this game. Rook d6, rook takes d6, c takes d. Notice that before black played rook d6, they hardly have any other move. They cannot take on d5 because pawn is going to take forking two knights, and they don't have any active moves in this position. g6 will be very weak because queen h3 and h6 pawn is weak, new weaknesses. So black played rook d6, rook takes to d6, c takes d, and queen g4. White has very simple threat. Bishop takes h6. After queen g4, black played king h8, and here white made very strong move. Bishop b6. Now rook cannot go to d8. black has enormous difficulties finding helpful moves or some moves that can make some sense. So what black did in this position, they made a move. Well, it looks like move has an idea. There is an idea. When grandmaster makes move like knight b8, you bet that there is an idea behind this move. Knight b8 was made move in this position. However, it's not a good move. Well, it's a good idea. Knight d7. They want to kick the bishop from b6 and also bring the knight on f6. That will be attacking white's queen, white's pawn on e4. And so it looks like makes a lot of sense. However, it loses almost immediately. Bishop takes e6. Pawn takes e6. You cannot take with the queen, obviously, because queen takes e6, fe, and rook takes d6 will win the game for white right away. So after bishop takes e6, f takes e6, and queen h4. Now this is the move of the moves. This is the greatest move in this game. And you see that white wants to exchange queens and totally destroy their pawn structure. But you see that that's where knight on b8 turns out to be bad move, because d6 pawn cannot be protected. So queen h4 is the great move. So black went queen d7, and now queen d8 check. White goes to endgame for one reason only. They win a pawn right away. Otherwise, white would never have done it. So queen takes d8, bishop takes d8, knight d7, and bishop to c7. Now it's obvious that black is going to lose at least one pawn, maybe more. Knight c5, rook takes d6, rook c8, played by black. Or what else can black do here? Well, there is no knight a4 right away, because white is going to take pawn on e6, and then bishop is going to take on e5 too. So first black must play rooks to c8, bishop b6, and after knight a4, rook takes e6, knight takes b2, rook takes e5, knight c4, rook to e6. White has two extra pawns, and black can get one pawn back. Rook takes b6, knight takes b6, rook takes b6, and after rook takes c3, rook takes b7, rook c2, black gets one pawn back, but the position is absolutely inevitably lost, because white has two connected pawns on the king side. They have 4 against 2. It's same as two connected pawns on the queen side and on the king side, and position is totally lost. After rook c2, h4, rook takes a2, and white played king g2, a5. Now white played h5, a4, rook a7, king g8, g4. Rest is not even essential, because there are countless ways white can win this position. a3, let's just quickly finalize. King g3, rook e2, king f3, rook a2, king e3, king f8, and well, here f3, that's a good way to play. King f4 and king f5. Black played rook a1, king f4, and now black plays a2. Of course, white could have gone king f5 and then rook f1 play, rook takes a2. Position would have been winning anyway, but white played e5 instead, and after king g8, white went king f5, rook f1, rook takes a2, rook takes f3, check, and now you see the idea of e5 move black. White goes king g6, and black does not have rook f6 check. After king f8, rook a8 check, king e7, rook a7 check, and black finally resigned. They should have done it several moves ago. Now, what can we say about this game? This game does not have flushing combinations. This game does not have unusual maneuvers. This game is one of the best games, I would say so, because it's very consistent, very determined, very well positionally conducted game, taking advantage what we can say that like a liquid dynamic advantage, which you have. White had temporary possession of d file, so, and they took full advantage, total advantage of that position, and their active two bishops. Brilliantly played game by Vasily Smyslov. In my opinion, this is one of the best games ever.